James Creedon awaiting us. The New York Times has published an investigation on the extent of fake followers on social media. This phenomenon does exist.
Definitely does. I mean, we've probably
Not you.
all...
Yours are all genuine, I know. You know
They are
but,
indeed,
yeah.
because they're not that impressive. But wherever you see these sort of gigantic Twitter followings or Instagram followings or whatever, you might have to scratch your head and
I
wonder...
interviewed a politician, and there was a journalist friendly to that politician in the same programme. They both had very similar figures of Twitter followers.
Do you know one way of figuring it out? If there's this massive following, but then every element that goes up on social media gets a much lower sort of share quota, it's there's something fishy about
Anyway,
that.
please.
Anyway, but
go
you
ahead,
can
sir.
also buy shares and retweets. It's all... There's nothing real anymore. Well, there are.
Except us. We're real. You, me, Yuka, we're real.
This is it. There is some reality left. In any case, The Follower Factory is the name of this article. It came out on Saturday. It was a big investigation, 5 different journalists working on it, and it's generated a lot of comment since then. Now, what did they determine? We know already that fake followers is a thing, that you have bots, as they call them, or automated accounts. But did you know that it's 15% of Twitter's active users, or that it's 60 million accounts on Facebook? That's actually double what Facebook had been admitting to up until November, when they informed investors that it is actually as many as 60 million.
60 million.
And to one extent...
population of the United Kingdom.
There you go.
Population of France. You know?
Imagine a whole load of bots kind of
imagine it?
roaming around. Zombie bots. Anyway. So the thing is, that's all well and good, and it's sufficiently kind of sad and annoying in itself, except when it gets to issues such as identity theft, where we're no longer operating in a kind of a legal grey zone. Here we are actually operating in it's a criminal act. So in this investigation, for example, Jessica Richley, she was 17 when her Twitter and Facebook account had a shadow kind of double version on Twitter, which was being used by a company called Devumi. Now, the investigation that the New York Times conducted centres around this company called Devumi, and in fact they have 3.5 million bots in their stock, which are each sold many times over to celebrities or businesses or whatnot. And so, for example, the bot that was replicating Jessica Richley's identity had real estate investments in Canada that were being promoted on Twitter, a radio station in Ghana. She was retweeting tweets in Indonesian and Arabic, languages that she doesn't speak, and there were fake accounts promoting graphic porn. For example, the Twitter account by somebody of the name of Porno Dan, she was retweeting that. So, you know, this is kind of serious if anybody thought that it was actually Jessica Richley, right?
It can be mildly annoying or incredibly grim and
That's
distressing, depending on the scale of what happens.
Well, what she said herself here about it is, I don't want my picture connected to this account.
Of course you don't,
understandable.
yeah, sure.
Nor my name. I can't believe that someone would even pay for that. It is just horrible. Now, the New York Times explained that these accounts are counterfeit coins in the booming economy of online influence, reaching into virtually any industry where a mass audience, or the illusion of it, can be monetized. Fake accounts deployed by governments, criminals and entrepreneurs now infest social media networks. And in fact, what one person was quite concerned about, and that is the New York prosecutor, state prosecutor Eric Schneiderman, is the whole issue of the fact that this could go as far as undermining democracy, because of course we know that bots have been involved as well in elections. As he says here in this tweet,
it's part of the investigation about Donald Trump's victory, isn't it?
That's right. So what he says here in this tweet is, impersonation and deception are illegal under New York law. We're opening an investigation into Devumi and its apparent sale of bots using stolen identities. Now, what I think is interesting as well, apart from, there's many aspects of it are interesting. Look at this. Dear Chris Froome, the cyclist, right? Could we please have your response to the stats below that show you have 250,000 fake followers and almost 1 million inactive followers on Twitter? So this seems to be another tipping point, because up to this point people thought, I'll just go and add on a few dozen thousand, tens of thousands followers. But actually now it looks like people risk being exposed if it is uncovered that they have. Now, Randy Brees is another US politician.
So his real name, Randy Brees.
There you go. So there's a whole list of individuals exposed in this New York Times article. The BBC website here has some of them. So better off just sticking with a more humble Twitter.
Be who you are. I mean, I've had someone impersonate me on Twitter, use my picture, pretend to be me, and pretend to try and meet people in that way.
Identity
and of course, you know, sort of someone then warned me about this. I emailed Twitter. They got rid of the account completely. You know, these things happen, but this is an industrial scale, isn't it?
Right,
It's appalling.
And it has become, I think, a huge phenomenon. It's one thing, as I said, if it's fake identities, it's already just kind of, you know, deceptive to say the least. But if it's identity theft, it's a whole other level of unacceptable. Message
to the public, message to anyone watching, we are real. James Creedon, thank you very much indeed for Media Watch. Thanks to Yuka Roya for the business. Pleasure to see you. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for watching too. Stay with us, much more to come here live from Paris.